future. It's so hurtful to see the people dying.
Good morning and welcome back to it, guys. It is the Now Morning Show, and as I mentioned before, we are talking World AIDS Day, at least in advance of its celebrations, or observance rather, which happens usually on December 1st. And to do that, the NWRHA is having the World AIDS Day Expo, HIV and Me, a community edition. And Sheldon Mason, the wellness coordinator for the Northwest Regional Health Authority, joins us on the Now Morning Show to tell us more. Welcome back, Sheldon. Always nice to have you.
Yes, it's always nice to be here.
Whenever you come with potent messages, activities, and so much more. And I like that you're very far in advance of the day, well, considerably in advance of the day, so that we can get ready to add it to our calendars and participate.
Yes.
Now, this title, HIV and Me Community Edition, tells me that we're getting involved. We're hands-on, we're in the space that we need to be. But tell us then what that should actually look like. How do we plan to celebrate or observe World AIDS Day?
Well, we're having a grand expo on Friday, December 1st, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Woodford Square. At the square, we're going to have a lot of HIV testing, you're going to have counseling, you're going to have a lot of other support groups, NGOs coming in with a prime focus to educate, sensitize, and train the public on risk assessment when it comes to their sexual and reproductive health and their risky sexual behavior, and letting them know that HIV is still here.
Right. Now, when you talk about risk assessment, that's a big word. What do we mean?
Risk assessment, how we put it, everything that we do in this life, even getting up this morning to come here, is a risk. And when time to engage or choose a new partner or partners when it comes to sex, that's a risk. And a risk assessment is basically asking them questions that will allow you to know, should I or should I not?
Right.
So
make better choices, ultimately.
Make better choices, ultimately, yes.
Now, I'm going to back things up a little bit, because this is obviously not the first observance of World AIDS Day.
No.
We've been doing this for decades.
Since 1987.
Right. And it means then that it continues to be a challenge, not just in Trinidad and Tobago, the Caribbean, but the world.
Yes.
The approach might be slightly different, and it has evolved over those years. And I want to talk a little bit about what it used to be, because there is a big stigma and fright attached to even getting tested. At some point, the campaigns alluded to the idea of HIV and AIDS ruining your life, changing things for the negative. And it kind of scared people out of getting tested altogether. How do we change that narrative? How are we getting people to come to Woodford Square and get tested?
Well, I have been in HIV since 2005. Right, I was a part of the National AIDS Program rapport, and then it changed from National AIDS Program to the HIV AIDS Coordinating Unit. I would have worked with the Trinidad Youth Council, the National AIDS Coordinating Committee, and was heavily involved. So you saw the Candlelight Memorial, where you would have walked around Porter's Speed with your candlestick in commemoration for those who would have passed of a direct result of complications due to AIDS. And over the years, people still feel stigmatized, and stigma is always a perceived notion of something.
Right. And
discrimination is the act of stigma. And we like people to get information. The Bible tells us the people perish for the lack of knowledge, and it has so much information, even on our smartphones. We spend so much time on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, but we don't spend time actually reading what is affecting us. COVID happened. Pre-COVID, persons were still going and making themselves available for testing, but COVID came and take us by a landstorm, so people was more focused on not dying from COVID, but they were still practicing risky sexual behavior, which was continuously putting them at risk.
Right.
And then we have testing available, and testing now has gone way beyond what it was back then. Long time, you had to wait 2 weeks for your results. Now, 15 to 20 minutes, any local health center in your community does HIV testing. Some does it Monday to Friday from 9 to 3. Others will do it on specific days, like the days that they do blood. So when they have antenatal clinic in the health centers, they will do HIV testing there. So we have moved away from HIV being a death sentence because of antiretroviral treatment. Long ago in the early 90s, person had a cocktail, you always say about a cocktail of tablets, which was a lot of tablets.
Right.
Today it's down to 1 to 3. And once you adhere on medications like taking your daily vitamin. Just yesterday, I did a lecture at Oxford Street Health Center, and I told them the last statistics I had, 1 in 17 persons in Trinidad would have been HIV positive. So it means if we go through this building and find 17 persons, somebody would be HIV positive, either knowing or not knowing. And at the end of the lecture, one of the clients of the health center came forward and he was like, I told her, so you're going to get HIV test after the lecture? And she was like, no, I'm HIV positive 15 years now. And I was like, oh.
At least she knows.
And she knows. And she's doing, she said, my medication, I don't play. I'm happily married. I'm taking my meds. I'm in what you call undetectable, meaning if she goes for a rapid HIV test, she will come up undetectable. However, if she takes the test that they naturally take when they draw blood, it will show up. But in the undetectable test, it means that her risk of transmitting to her partner has been significantly reduced. And then she's adhering to the medication, which means the medication and the immune system is functioning as it's supposed to. However, if she comes off the medication, then she can develop what we call a resistant strain. And that resistant strain changes the way HIV is in her body. So whenever she transmits, there's a new HIV going forward.
I'm really appreciative of you taking the time to explore that so thoroughly, because it definitely did away with some of the myths that people still have. We know that we can live long and prosperous lives once we adhere to medication, and of course knowing our status is very important. So it brings us back to the day, because that's what we're going to be doing. And I noticed that part of the campaign actually includes counseling before and after testing, as it's very, very necessary. Talk to us about what shape that will take at the Woodford Square as well.
So what we'll have, they'll have different testing sites. A lot of tents put up, enclosed, very private, very secluded, air conditioned, of course. Okay. Because we want people to be comfortable, right? There will be other organizations partnering with us. A lot of youth groups, a lot of ministries coming in, maybe from Ministry of Labor, Conciliation Unit, talking about HIV and employment, because a lot of people are discriminated against based on their status, and that's against the law. So you cannot discriminate or not hire or fire anyone because of their HIV status. That's against the law.
Good to know.
So the Ministry of Labor will be there dealing with that aspect. We're more targeted on the young people, because the young people tend to be going more risky these days.
Makes sense.
Risk it for the biscuit, you know?
As they say.
As they say. And so we have a lot of youthful information, a lot of trained, skilled person. We'd even have person from St. Anne's in the mental health unit coming in and talking about the mental health aspect of it, because everything when it comes to HIV is linked. All our behaviors, all our interactions, the way we see life, it boils down back to sex at the end of the day. And sex puts us at risk, and not just sex, unprotected sex with an infected person and multiple partners. So there'll be counseling before, during, and after, all in that 20-minute slot when you go to access your free HIV test, and it's free.
Free is very, very good.
Yes, free is the best way to train that.
Absolutely. We want people to engage. We want people, more than that, to be educated. And so the counseling before, during, and after sounds like it's going to be very potent information.
Yes, it's a rigid, universal, accepted practice, because that's how rapid test is done throughout the world. You come in, tester assess you to make sure that you can handle the results before they give it to you. And then if they realize that you can, they can then start to implement the strategies to make sure that you leave feeling safe and understanding the difference between a positive and a negative reading.
Right. So in terms of the campaign, we will of course explore more of the details, but what do you hope, or rather the NWRHA hope to achieve through this campaign? Ultimately, what are we looking for?
We're hoping to educate the public more, right? Train them in certain skills, because there will be condom demonstrations, right? So persons will learn how the 12 steps to using a condom properly.
12?
Yeah, 12. Everybody only know about it. Yeah.
Okay.
Right? 2 quick steps and they think that's it, but there's actually 12 steps from purchasing, storing, using, and discarding of the condom. So you have to understand those contexts, the expiry date, how the condom is stored, temperature, and that's supposed to be stored in a wallet. We want to educate the public on that. Safer sex practices, how to negotiate safe sex, because the only safe sex is no sex. But when engaging in sex, how to bring up the question, how many sexual partners have you had? Would you like to go and get tested? These are the things that we would like to educate the public about. We also want to sensitize them on the different health centers in their communities and in their local area that they can go to access these services when the Expo has passed. Because some people may not be able to attend on Friday. However, the health centers in the Northwest Regional Health Authority and all regional health authority offer these services for free. So you want to find out the days and the times and when you can go. So that's what we're hoping to do on that day.
Do they need to work with anything in particular? Are we
Just yourself. Yeah, don't come naked though, but you know.
Never necessary.
Yeah.
And any expo.
But you know, it's Trinidad. Anything is possible.
That's not what the expo and expo stands for. No. And in terms of the World AIDS Day theme, coming home, or rather going global a bit.
Yes.
Because there is an overarching theme each and every year.
Yes.
As we were talking before, we kind of customized it with HIV and Me, the community edition. Tell me a little bit as to how the NWRHA is participating in the global theme of Let Communities Lead.
In the global team, we are hosting the expo to make light of HIV, because HIV tend to fly under the radar for a number of months as we go forward. And this expo is to go and partner with all other institutions around the world to celebrate and to make aware that the epidemic is still happening. And they are working towards a 95 in terms of UNAIDS by year 2030, so that 95% of the persons are detected, 95% of the persons are on antiretroviral treatment, and 95% of the persons are suppressed, meaning undetectable. And that makes the community itself safer and easier to function in and negotiate when it comes to your sexual and reproductive health.
Lots of information to be had, but you can experience all of this and more as the NWRHA's World AIDS Day Expo HIV and Me Community Edition takes place this Friday, December 1st at the University of Woodford, better known as Woodford Square. Head on down, and for now, head to the break as we come back with more after these messages.
That's the way how things go nowadays. Man only care for themselves and no one else. No fickle you down.